still sound out?
Yeah, it always gets funny.
Excuse me. Oh, that's very rude. My mum would... Alright, I'll play the fucking Yamaha. Do you mind if I do?
Yeah, I actually kind of do.
I don't give a shit. We'll play whatever you. Okay, this is really bloody annoying because I like Derek's guitar. I'm looking for a request. Stay vigilant, Felton. Because more than one person does it at the same time, it's hard for me to see. Crikey, there's loads. Tommy Emmanuel is viewing. No way. Shut the front door. Tommy, are you there? It can't be. It's surely... Willow, don't try and get that. Tommy Emmanuel, for those of you who don't know, is the greatest guitar player in the world. Certainly on acoustics, nothing comes anywhere close to him. And I've definitely spent many a year trying to learn his stuff. So for those of you who don't know, I was just doing a Q&A with a friend slash one of the members of a fan group. And I was trying to do it here instead, so... Oh, yes! Fuck a duck. Here we go.
Hi!
Ah, did it work?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Do you know this is... Funny enough, as I was just talking about one of your country's finest exports.
Tommy Emmanuel, yes.
Oh. God. I think he's listening. I saw a little thing.
He is. I saw his comment.
Shut the front door. Give him a hug. How do I do it? What do I do? Should I look for him?
I think so. Or you could scroll through the comments, I think.
Oh, fuck it. I've already done damage already. How do I get back? Here we go. Yes, but essentially, you know, I'm not a very good celeb person. But the few times that I've really have loved... having someone to invite me backstage was Tommy Emmanuel became a close friend very quickly, and I'm a huge fan of his. And he calls me Little T, and I call him Big T.
I think he said on one of his comments, TNT, there. My dad loves him too. He's a big guitar fan.
He's, you know, there's nothing compared to him really. And just in his field, whatever that field is of like just incredible, he's Mozart on the guitar. He really is. Anyone that hasn't been to a show of Tommy Emmanuel, you should go. Because he covers things like you've never heard before. Anyway, very, very talented. I got very excited then when he was there.
Well, that's a question that some people like to ask you. Who do you get starstruck by? There you go, Tommy Emmanuel.
You know what? I do, but it's not even starstruck because I'm not that person. I don't really need to, I don't want to meet you. As far, that sounds fucking like an art. I don't want to like hang out with Jack Johnson in some forced environment where he has to be kind, or I don't know, something like that. Does not usually sit particularly easily with me. But Tommy Emmanuel, Ed Sheeran, we've been friends for a while. He's the most incredibly down-to-earth musician you'll ever find. But yes, on the rare occasion that I get to see Tommy, probably 4 or 5 times now over the world, he's always had time for me and tried to encourage me to get better. So, shout-outs to Tommy Emmanuel. CGP. Player.
Oh.
What was the song I was thinking of? A few. Oh. Time wasting, lacing, way down. This is not a very upbeat one either.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. You know that.
Lacing, way down. I know. Maybe now it's all just a bad dream. And I will wake up someday I'm laying flowers down, it's a sad scene. I don't know what to say, and so take me away. Show me something I've not seen. Dark as the night, blue as the day's ever been. Ooh, 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 ooh. So take me away to a place I've never been. You can't regret an ending if you never even let it begin. Ooh, 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 ooh. So here's hope in the blue ocean will wash my footprints away. Sorry, will I chase a fly? I'll start again. Here's hope in the blue ocean will wash my footprints away. Sat back in my traffic and I'm stuck in my ways. Maybe now it's all just a bad dream. I will wake up someday. I'm laying flowers down, it's a sad scene. I don't know what to say, so take me away. Show me something I've not seen. Dark as the night, blue as the day's ever been. Ooh, 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 ooh. So take me away. Show me something I've not seen. You can't regret an ending if you never even let it begin. Ooh, ooh, ooh. This is usually where Derek would come in. I said maybe now it's all just a bad dream. We will wake up someday. I'm laying flowers down, it's a sad scene. 'Cause I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Ooh. But take me away. Show me something I've not seen. Dark as the day, blue as the night's ever been. Ooh, ooh. That was so take me away to a place I've never been. You can't regret an ending now if you've never even let it begin. Ooh, 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 ooh. You can't regret an ending if you never even let it begin.
Oh, it's absolutely one of my favorites.
Oh, cheers, bro. That's very sweet of you. I do love that when people say things are their favourites because I forget that they're even there, and it reminds me, like, yeah, shit, I should do something with it. Yeah.
We had a request, by the way, just before we signed off on the other one, to ask you to do some rapping. You got anything in the back of your mind? I mean,
well, bizarrely enough, usually freestyling works better than actually writing down. But no, not really. What was the one? Yeah, sure. I'll find something there. Because actually, I dive in quite spectacularly. Get my toes wet, then I'll backtrack casually. Because actually, I've never been a fan of faculties. A pair of quick lips reveals the maniac in me. I'm singing peace, love, hippie, stop attacking me. Everybody seems so angry these days. Is that just me? Because I've heard worse. You know verse. You know I'm British, mate, complaining in the first verse. I'm complaining in the first verse. I'm complaining in the first verse. Yeah, give me a cup of tea, a bag of sweets just for me, and I'm dumbfounded. I'm surrounded by the sounds of the sea. Give me some whiskey and wine, and everything will be fine. Reclining on the sand is where I want to spend my time. Let them lift me so high, like some clouds. I'm hunky-dory, can't you tell? I wish my troubles farewell. I'm hunky-dory, can't you tell? I wish my troubles farewell. I'm hunky-dory, wish my troubles farewell. I'm hunky-dory, can't you tell? Wait.
Oh, that was wonderful.
It didn't start like that. It was more like, yes, I'm a gangster man. I'll meet you in the alleyway. I'll smash your teeth in, bruv. Yeah. I was really trying to be...
I know. I've heard some of it.
Oh, there's plenty out there. I'll slowly make it available.
I'm sure that's something that lots of people will be looking forward to.
Oh, okay. There's a few questionable ones there. But actually, honestly, I'm actually really, really proud of it. The stuff that I do have, I still think is the best stuff that I've done, because the mentality of a youngster, a young teen around, we were never trying to make music. We were never trying to write music. It just, it's so much fun. Yeah.
Well, look, that's another question that we've got here, actually, because a lot of those songs that you did in sort of those early days were about your legacy and how you kind of wanted to be remembered by people as well. Do you think that that's changed, how you want to be remembered?
No, but it has in my writing, definitely. There's a song, If I Should, which is definitely the most, government death, really. Like, I was only 19 or 20 when writing that, and now I find myself writing about much trivial things like, oh, I can't get a puppy out of the water. She gives me no personal space. Hello, Wells. This is how every morning. This is how she starts.
Aww.
She's a crotch rocket, I call her. Which is fine, however, if you don't, she'll just come up to you and go, she just puts her, and people go, whoo! She's just trying to be friendly. Aren't you? You're trying to be friendly. Sorry, what were we chatting about?
How you want to be remembered and how your song lyrics have changed.
It's very hard to define the answer to that, really. But yeah, the writing is definitely, you look more at things that nowadays that are more day to day. Like, look at that one. This is how she is every breakfast. I don't believe in personal space, do I? yes. Okay. I don't think about that now, really, because it's quite overwhelming. I think when you're a youngster, there's a reason why most prolific poets or artists or it's not like an athlete where you can progressively get faster, hopefully, in your first 10 years of professional. The stuff that came to me when I was a youngster was far more fluid than it is now. And I suppose it's just a natural thing of time, because I've got more shit going on now of looking after family or looking after this little nightmare. So nowadays it's more about songs. I'm more likely to sing a song of being like, oh no, I ran out of toilet roll too. Online they said use your hand, but there's no fucking way.
I like that one. That should be on the album.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I like the fun side. Died from awake for my personal sake. Yeah, the other one's a bit deeper.
Mm-hmm. Well, and speaking of seemingly trivial things in your songs, where the hell did the duck thing come from?
I can't tell you.
Oh, no! Is it representative of someone?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Someone knows what the duck is. He's a duck.
Okay.
So we quack. That's what we do. I'll tell you why. Because she gave me a beautiful comment once. Was that she spent her whole life feeling she spent her whole life people telling her that she's a chicken. Right? You're a chicken. Mingle with the other. Cluck like a chicken. Be a chicken. And she never realized until she met me that she was a duck.
Aww.
So when you see another duck, it's like, oh, fuck me, I'm not supposed to be a chicken in the first place. There are other ducks like me out there. So quack quack is our thing. But also aside from that, it's now turned into part of my spirit creature. You know, in fact, it may even make me question what my Patronus would be. A duck would be quite cool.
That would be awesome. Or maybe your animagus form. You see, you'd be a duck.
This is why I have you here, a right-hand man. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I love ducks.
Ducks are the best. Like, shout out, my parents have a business called the Duck House. So, you know, if you're ever in the need for some accommodation after all of this business is over, come down to Tassie.
Quack.
Oh, gosh. All right. Here's another cool one.
Go on.
It's we'll see how you go with it. Do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm very happy in my own company.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need other people's validation to make me feel like I'm doing the right thing. Well, of course I do. Like every human, we're plagued by it. But it sits quite low in my... I know I'm not in a good place if I'm judging what I do based on what other people are going to think about it. And you do, you know, someone that's quite, you know, intuitive. You can generally feel what the vibe is. But, yeah, I am extroverted at times, definitely. I hope I'm not too much so, but I love to make people laugh or enjoy. You know what I really love doing? That if there's a room of 10 or so, I'll tell you what. What happens is basically I go into some social thing in Hollywood or whatever it may be, and I don't want to be there. I don't know what these people are talking about. I don't know. This guy's talking about his quarterly figures, and like, as much as I love the business of acting, for my part of it, I don't really have a huge passion to hear about who, you know, whatever, the behind the scenes so much. I mean, not creatively, but certainly on the financial side of things. So suddenly when you get a situation like that, where you go in and go, hello, nice to see you, and there's a bunch of people that are pretending to be comfortable, there's always like one person or two people that are in like a corner, or they're kind of standing there. They're not on their phones. They're just kind of standing there thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. Like, why the hell did we come out tonight? This is a disaster. I take pleasure in then going up to them and saying, what did you have for breakfast today? And they go, what? Breakfast this morning. What did you have? And then immediately we can just sort of go from there. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you might be an ambivert, actually. That's like a...
What the hell's that?
It's kind of like a mixture of the two. It's like you like being by yourself, but you're pretty comfortable being around other people too.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit of a show-off, I think, around people. And then when I'm not, I'm not. I just sort of sit down. Yeah.
A show-off? You? No.
Yeah, right? Okay.
All right. Well, while we're on the subject of personality... what qualities do you consider most important in a person? What do you value the most in a friend or whomever? I know. They've gone deep, dude.
Honesty.
I'm sorry.
I like it because I have very instinctive answers at this time. Honesty, sense of humor. I really appreciate unconditional sort of friendships. Like I mentioned, Paul, Aussie best. Like we've gone months without talking. We've got months with him calling me 3 times and me never replying to a single one of them. I'm a terrible friend. Ask anyone that is they'll tell you I'm terrible. I am, because I get lost.
Not quick to reply, you see.
Not
You've
quick
got a song about that one too.
Reply. Is that what I was? Reply.
Not quick to reply.
I'm not quick to reply.
That's the one.
Feltbeats girls will tell you best. I'm not quick to reply.
Yes.
I'll ignore you for 2 days and 3 nights. And then they text back saying like,
I saw that, Bets.
Yeah. I spoke to you more than I have my mum this month. You have to just accept that I'm not a phone person. There's other things that...
Very privileged.
Well, I won't be taken hostage for being like, well, I texted you. To me, phone is like a door. It's a front door. And by having it, someone's able to go, just because you knock on my door does not mean I have to answer it. And that's why
I completely understand.
Away from it as long as I can, and then launch back in moments like this. But I drive myself crazy otherwise, I think. Anyone would.
So yes, we had honesty and sort of loyalty.
Honestly, Lord, sense of humor. No. Besides
And
anything,
sense of
don't not take yourself too seriously, because it's not. To be, you know, chill, for lack of a better word. It's like it's people that sort of blow these small things in life to the massive degrees of it, because there's nothing else to do. It's like they're trying to create something to do, basically. I'm just not down with that at all.
Yeah.
So, well,
I understand that.
yeah. Take me away. Look, you're talking to me. This is great. Tom, you're amazing. Thanks. I see you. I saw you, Babika 7.
Does Tom ever talk back to us? Apparently, yes. It's happening now. There you go.
Play and sing Midnight Train to Georgia. It's my favorite. Oh. It's mine. Midnight train on the way to Georgia. Wait, is Georgia the friend of the song? I don't know how to play it. Sorry, darling. Take me away.
It's the place, I think. Bets, you're going to have a comment from Bets about your accent just then. I'm letting you know.
What, the Aussie one? Oh, the American?
It's the Georgia one, or whatever it is. That's where she's from.
Oh, Georgia. Okay, yeah. Out there. No, I'm not good at that at all. But it's true. It's true, even in the terms of acting or film or playing music. You may take it as sounding trivial, but like, unless you turn up willing to make a fool of yourself and willing to be a child, like, all grow egos naturally just from our positions and whatever, and people we meet over the years. Going into a room and accepting that, like, I'm not right, but I'm still going to speak up and I'm still going to be silly and see what happens. I think, you know, part of the success of any artistic venture is the quicker you fail, the quicker you find the good one, the good stuff. And if you're scared...
Yeah, well, I mean, all artistic endeavor is sort of putting your heart on a plate, you know, and if you're not willing to do that, then it's not really worth doing.
No, and it's the same as well. If someone likes it or not, it doesn't really matter, really, which is why the Insta Lives are great, because I don't get to see... There probably is thousands of people saying, this is shit. What's he doing?
I'm here to tell you that that's not what they're saying.
But I've known for a long time, don't Google I hate Tom Felton, because I'm sure there would be some...
I have to say, I haven't ever Googled that.
Oh, yes, move on. Yes.
All right. Do you like to cook, Tom? And if so, what's your go-to dish?
Glad you said that, because I went shopping today. I went to Walmart, which was bloody hell. That's an experience.
Yeah, supermarkets have been pretty crazy.
No, it was one of these super centers. I think it was just the size of an air hangar. You could have had 5 planes in there. But yeah, we got some stuff. What do I cook? Like fresh, for example. Tonight we're really excited because Sunday's a roast night. So some fresh chicken or fresh whatever, and we get fresh veg and like not frozen stuff. I'm a gravy man, so I make my own gravy. I've got a couple of recipes that I'm tinkering with as we speak. So that's our tonight's our big cooking night. Other than that, it can be varied. It's usually pretty healthy during the day, and then at night time it can slip into the
chicken nuggets.
All right, and the lately we've been on the tater tots.
They're like the mini hash brown things, yeah? They're like that big.
Yeah, you don't have to, yeah, of course, yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Oh, very nice. All right. I'm running out of questions. I think we've done most of them.
Perfect.
Okay, what advice would you give people who are trying to learn the guitar in quarantine?
Don't bother. Give up. I mean, no, actually, well, it's an endeavor. It definitely is. It's like snowboarding in the sense that it's a real bitch at first, and not because it's hard just mentally, but physically getting your hands into various positions can be quite ugly. That's why I suggest nylon guitars. A nylon guitar for the start would be great. Always have a tuner, because the worst thing ever is trying to practice when it's out of tune, because it doesn't matter what you do, it sounds shit. So that will really be discouraging. Yeah, and my favorite tip there was like, just find one song that you like. You don't have to sing. Bear in mind as well, I spent like a full year trying to be able to play guitar and sing at the same time. Like my hand would just not. It's one of these real like riding a bike experiences where it's a bitch for so long, and then suddenly something kind of. So you know, persevere. Really, there's great YouTube videos out there, and it's one of those things that they'll show you a chord, and then all you have to do is just sit there for hours, not even play it, but just remember where the fingers are, and then stop, come back, stop, come back, until you know what it is, and then the right hand starts to come into it. What I'm saying is hang in there, because it's a bit of an experience. This is why I often promote the ukulele.
Yes.
Because it's a lot more simple and equally more satisfying.
I always found like the thing where, you know, you put your finger across and then you move up. I found that really tough when I was sort of learning to play the guitar.
That sounds very naughty to me.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, wait,
yeah.
what?
You know, yeah, like that. Like to have your whole finger across all of the...
This is not natural. Like barring a chord.
No.
I'm joking. It was probably at least 6 months of trying to get it right, and it's one of those annoying things that just suddenly it works. Mostly, what I'm saying is it's worth persevering. Like really, really just fully accept. I'm gonna be shit for at least a month or whatever, and that way you can sort of allow yourself to progress with it, and all you have to do is 20 minutes a day, put it away, because otherwise you'll get frustrated. That doesn't sound as good as it should do, but yeah. And then
there's a lot of requests happening, by the way, for Super Bass by Nicki Minaj.
The hell's that?
You know, the one that her famous one where she raps really quickly. Man, I can't do that.
Embarrass myself further. Yeah, I'm not Mr.
No, yes, look, Super Bass. Of all the songs in the world, why the hell would they request Super Bass?
Love to do it. I'm sorry, I would have come prepared. Derek, nah. Actually, I bought a Canada hat the other day. I love GB Love. I'm also a Slytherin.
Yeah, look, that's a question people were actually asking in our comments, is what house would you be in? I'm like, well, Tom thinks he's a Slytherin. So
yeah, I mean, but Joe did tell me personally that I'm a Gryffindor.
Yeah, I've heard that rumor. What's your favorite Hamilton song? Is it the one that you sang earlier?
Well, that was the initial ear pricker for sure. I can't speak highly enough of Lin-Manuel. I just think Miranda Emanuel. Sorry, it's a real life changer there. Although Dear Evan Hansen, if you haven't seen that, well, obviously no one can see that right now. It's terrible, but that was a game changer to me as well. We underestimate the power of art, right? Because it's so much. It's literally everyone's trying to promote some sort of TV show, music. How many musicians are out there in the world? God knows. But don't underestimate the power of seeing something or experiencing something and how it can just alter your life completely. And it could be something as little as a guy with a yo-yo, and it can be as big as a full Broadway production. That when I go to London, rarely see my family, I go to the theatre, always by myself, always on the edge of a row at the front, and nothing makes me happier than losing myself in a musical production. That's my Star Wars, that's my Harry Potter, I suppose.
Last time I was in London, I saw the Book of Mormon there. That was insane.
So much fun, right?
Oh, so good. So good.
Engage is something that we are slowly letting go of because of this. You know, the classic example is, when did you last go to a music show and not see every single person recording it for the and I'm guilty. I'm the same. I saw Paul McCartney a few times. Like, I had to film it for my mum. I did. We're guilty of it. But the theatre is a nice reminder of how people enjoy theatre and musicals now was exactly the same as how people enjoyed it, hundreds of years ago. Well, they were probably standing, but we had seats. But the point, it's not something that can be. You can't see it again. This is it. Watch it.
Yeah.
Nice.
It forces you to be in the moment and to be processing it if you've not seen it before. Because like I I hadn't seen the Book of Mormon or anything really about it, and so they go so fast in it, and you're processing all this amazing information both visually and audially, and it's amazing.
That one even more so. I mean, crikey rather. Tucker and Matt Stoner, but yeah, they're brilliant musicians. They have a sort of Chris Lilly vibe, another Aussie. They have the ability to write melodically beautiful songs. Chris Lilly was a master of this, I thought, and then put the most absurd words to them. She's a slut and she knows it. I mean, I can't. It's just too much. He's my favorite fictional character of all time, I think. But the idea of, like you said, there's so much to process. You have to focus. It demands attention. You can't watch it, whereas most entertainment these days you can kind of casually get through. Hamilton is my first time. I could barely keep up with every third word, let alone
yeah, understandable. All right, how about a question about directing? You did a bit of directing with Tom Felton Meets the Superfans. Hi, Tina. Bit of a shout out there.
Shout out.
Tina's the best.
She is, absolutely.
All right. Are you interested in doing more directing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Would it be sort of like the Superfans one? Would that be your preference, where like you're doing it all, or would it be just like of an episode of a TV show? Or
wouldn't it be the opposite, really, of the thing like Superfans? I mean, essentially that was an idea that I'd had for a long time, and it was just that particular network chose to pick it up many years later. So as much as I did direct it, it was also heavily fueled by a machine that makes these sorts of things, and thank God for it, because they saved the production. They make it very, very tight. They know exactly where the puzzle pieces are going to fit. So even when I was arguing, maybe like, oh no, put this bit here, they were like, trust me, work better. And they were right. It was my first directorial thing, I suppose. I had a lot of help from my partner at the time. But yeah, no, from here on inwards, I have other ideas that I would like to, more comedy, buffoonery type stuff. Yeah, I won't bore you with my ideas now, but there's a couple that I'm working on that I think will be good.
Oh, I can't wait to hear more about it. It'll be good. All right. If you could direct any episode of a TV show, what would you choose to direct and why?
Simpsons. I mean, if I could be in The Simpsons, there's very few things that I'm jealous of Radcliffe of. He's in The Simpsons.
Unlike Draco. Yeah.
Draco can't compete with that one. And even worse, he was in Extras. He was part of, which is
loved Extras.
Yeah. I mean, Gervais is just he brightens up my world a lot through his writing. And Russell Brand does a complete shift. Russell Brand does a lot with podcasts and stuff. I love to listen to his podcasts on Luminaire, Under the Skin. He has some great topics. I think now is the time where we are sitting on our asses, so we might as well spend the time actually exploring things that we didn't have the time for before. I think we all used time as an excuse before, right? Why didn't I learn the piano? Or why didn't I teach my kid how to play chess, or like, whatever it is? Not in a bad way. We were busy. and now
no, absolutely. I saw this meme on Facebook, and it's like it said something like, turns out the reason that I'm not cleaning the house is not because I don't have the time.
Right. Sure. And I'm equally guilty as well. You know, this is my moment to send those 4-page emails to all my relatives and whatnot. And I get sidetracked by throwing a cactus toy for Willow in the swimming pool.
That's a good cause too.
It is. But it's a nice reminder, because we, in a way, we're very, very aware of day-to-day life, because we just keep going. So now's the moment to stop and go, the hell am I doing?
No, absolutely. And I think it's also a time, like you said, to sort of when we turn to arts as well, you know, as someone who teaches art and you know, a lot of the time we kind of get pushed aside for like core subjects. And what's everyone doing while we're all in this time? Oh, we're making music, we're making art.
They are sitting at home and they're doing Pythagoras' theorem. They are wondering what the hypothesis was of
hypotenuse, dear.
Yeah, thank you. Clearly I didn't. No, I'm
a maths teacher too.
Are you really? Fuck, I didn't.
Yeah. That's all right.
My other skills at all, especially bloody reading and writing, or maths, to be fair, equally important. But yeah, it's a moment. It's a moment for us. I don't know. See, my dad, when I was a nipper, around like, I don't know, 6, 7, or 8, around then, my dad was really passionate about watch this movie. Because, of course, again, it was quite a revelation that they could actually watch a film in their own house via these VHS black cassettes, which all you youngsters won't even know what the bloody hell I'm talking about now. There was an old black box about 8 times the size of an iPhone. You used to put it into a machine, and you could play, rewind, and you could watch your favorite. I got Aladdin for my 7th birthday, I think.
Love Aladdin.
But my dad genuinely had a passion to be like, son, I want you to watch these things, and it was mostly Faulty Towers or
love Faulty Towers,
Monty Python, or the Great Escape, When Eagles Dead. Lots of films that had a massive influence on his life, and I really, really want to continue that trend. I don't want this world of endless entertainment and most of it being brilliant or whatever to dilute the fact that that it shapes us. It certainly shaped him. My dad's got a great sense of humor. I love to hear his jokes, and it's mostly out of taking himself not seriously at all. So to see things like Faulty Towers, Only Fools and Horses, etc., etc.
Oh, yeah. I loved like the old Morecambe and Wise and Porridge and
yeah, sure,
all that kind of stuff too. And I agree. It totally, growing up, sort of shaped my own sense of humor, I think. And a lot of the time, like, my friends were not into that kind of comedy, you know what I mean? They were like watching Friends and things like that.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a bit of a disconnect. But now that they've watched those things later in life, they're like, oh, we got what you were talking about there when you were being a complete fool.
I was lucky. I had 3 older brothers. Well, shit kicked out of me most days, but I was lucky enough that I would end up watching what they were watching. So I was watching Braveheart and Terminator 2 or whatever, a Predator when I was very young, essentially. 3 Men and a Little Lady. I'm trying to think of the other VHSs that I remember. 3 Men and a Little Baby, right?
Yeah, 3 Men and a Baby. Yeah.
And then the lady. That's the one I really fell in love with. What else? Dirty Dancing. I remember that as a kid.
I hadn't actually seen that until like 5 years ago. I'm like you. I remember you talking to Jason about like not having seen these amazing movies that everyone's seen. I didn't see The Princess Bride until I was like 21.
That's a lady's favorite around the world, surely.
Yeah, well, yeah, and everyone always used to go on about how amazing it was. Oh,
You had such a hard life. What is your favorite song to play? Sorry, I just saw that.
Go for it.
Oh, mate, it's just not. There isn't one, but I'll do the first thing that comes to mind, and then I Must Love and Leave You, because this one.
Yeah, go for it. We've been talking for ages.
I know it was great though. Before I do though, Feltbeats and the crew, everyone else, is that I'm going to start this as a weekly thing. And next Sunday or next Friday, I haven't decided yet what day, I'm going to do a little home party. Not a house party, because we're just going to be chilling at our own homes. I will advertise it and I will let you know when it is. But basically, I'm thinking of like a two-hour kind of thing where I get to bring maybe Jason Isaacs on, have a little father and son chat, catch up with a few musicians, catch up with people around the world, really, and figure out what the hell is going on and how are you managing to keep yourself sane and help people, and obviously all of it in a good cause as well. So, avid viewers, I'll wait for that. Just like a terrible promoter.
We'll promote promote it. Don't worry. We'll promote it. We'll get on.
Car salesman from the 70s. All right, I'll go happy rather than sad. She's electric.
Oh, nice.
A family full of eccentrics. She's done things I've never expected, but I need more time. She's got this brother. We don't get along with another, but I quite fancy her mother, and I'm pretty sure that she likes me. 'Cause I want you, 'cause I want you to say, you know what I'm saying, when I need more time. And I want you to know, you know what I'm knowing, 'cause I need more, 'cause I need you, you need me. Lots and lots for us to see, lots and lots for us to do. 'Cause she's electric. Gonna be electric. I'm not that electric in real life, so please can I be electric too? She's got this cousin. Now I think about it, she's got more like half a dozen. She's got one in the oven, but it's nothing to do with me. She's now a line dame. Never seen nothing like it. She quite fancies my likeness, and I guess I need more time. 'Cause I want you to know, you know what I'm knowing, and I need more time. You just lifted her head up like, what's that? 'Cause I want you to know, you know what I'm saying, 'cause I need more time. And I want you to say, you know what I'm saying, 'cause I need more, 'cause I'll need you, and you'll need me. Lots and lots for us to see, lots and lots for us to do, because Willow's electric. Can I be electric too? I want to be like Willow too.
Don't we all?
Electric. Can I be electric? Can I be electric too? Look, who's electric?
Oh, very electric.
Goodbye. Will I say goodbye? All right. You just
Bye.
Keep working as hard as you do. All right. Love you guys. Thanks for the time.
See you.
See you next week.